Hey guys, Gabe Suarez here from Suarez Tactics. So I am going to start doing video presentations of all the concepts and methods and techniques that we have in our shooting classes. We're going to start off with Pistol Gunfighting 1. Now, the classes that we have are similar to the stuff that we used to do before. Now, we've been refining this for quite a number of years. You'll remember when we were teaching close range gunfighting and extreme close range gunfighting, and the close range gunfighting issues, and that was great. Now we've expanded that to make it better and more complete. So it's simply pistol gunfighting. There's level 1, there's level 2, there's optic sighted pistol gunfighting, which predominantly exclusively focuses on the use of the dot sighted pistols that have become so prolific, and then we have a couple of other ones that are again pistol specific, pistol ground fighting and pistol gunfighting in the clinch. Those two are expansions of the concept that we had earlier, which was 0 to 5 gunfighting. We've expanded those and made them more complete. So we're going to work on this particular video, and once we reach completion, we'll start adding the others, and so on. Some of these we're going to put up on Facebook. Others are going to be exclusive to my Patreon page for the Patreon members. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about in this particular chapter, so to speak, is the issue of gun safety. Okay. Now, when I teach a class, I bring out my pistol. This happens to be a CZP-01. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a Glock 1911. Who cares? All right. And I ask the guys, "What's this for?" Usually the new people will come up with all sorts of politically correct euphemisms. This is to defend your life. This is to protect your home. This is to this and that, to express your Second Amendment rights and what have you. And usually we have some longtime Suarez alumni, and they raise their hands and they say, "This is for killing." And I say, exactly right. This is for killing. It's a weapon, it's dangerous, and it is intended for killing those that would harm you. All right. Now, I know that some of the liability averse organizations, and I think we all know who they are. I don't need to give them any press here. They would take that statement that I just made and they would grab their chest and fall down flat, having had a heart attack, okay? Because to them, in their world, that's not what this is for. Well, in the real world, my friends, that's exactly what this is for. If this was not a weapon, if it wasn't dangerous, and it wasn't intended for killing those who would harm you, why the hell would we even carry them in the first place? All right? So that's what they're for. Now, are they dangerous? Absolutely they are. So just like a sharp knife or a fast car or a laptop, we have to have some care in their use. We have to be alert and focused and not distracted when we are operating these wonderful tools of modern science. So we have safety rules that we put into place in order to help you operate them in relative safety and to prevent injury and so on. Okay? All right. Now, the first one, well, let me back up. The rules that I use in my training are intended for the real world, for all time, 24/7, 365, no matter what your location is. They're not specific to the shooting range. The shooting range is not the real world. The shooting range is an artificial setting that's used for training. And so sometimes there's rules in place there that facilitate the training environment there, which have really no bearing in the real world. So in any case, here we go. The first rule: treat all guns as if they were loaded. All right? Treat them as if they were loaded. Don't assume that they're otherwise. Now, there are people that will say, well, that's wrong. All guns are always loaded. Look, here's the thing. If I take this pistol, I take the magazine out, I set it down here, and I work the slide back and forth, okay, and I open it up, and I show you, okay, and I show 3 other guys that are here, and then I go, okay, and you say, that gun is still loaded, I think you're smoking drugs. All right? All guns are not always loaded. but we want to treat them as such. And if we do that, we'll tend to be a little bit more careful and focused, and therefore prevent accidents from taking place. Okay? All right, so treat all guns as if they were loaded. All right, now, number 2, they say don't let the weapon, don't let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. Again, that is an impossibility. Okay, wherever this is pointing, there's something I don't want to destroy. I don't want to destroy my garage door. Oh, I don't want to destroy my garage ceiling. Well, I don't want to just, oh, eventually you get so freaking scared of this that you drop it and you go take up bowling. All right, look, be careful with your gun muzzle. That means that this should not cover anything unintentionally. Now look, do people have muzzles pointed at them in the real world all the time in tactical situations and tactical environments? Yes, they do. Okay, that's not a bad thing, and it's not a violation of any safety rule. It is reality. Okay, so let's not create an environment or a situation for ourselves that is impossible to express in the real world. All right, if there's a person that is in front of you and has scared you sufficiently to get this pistol in your hand, you're going to point it at them. You're not going to address them in some sort of a goofy low ready or anything like that. All right, be careful with your gun muzzle. Just keep that in mind. What does the opposite of that look like? I don't know, but we'll know when we see it. Okay, now number 3, they say keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. Wonderful. If you're on a shooting range and you're always going to see your sights, but there are plenty of times in the real world where you're not going to see your sights because you're going to be involved in a close face-to-face fight, or your attention is going to be drawn to them and in a close range under duress situation, and your visual focus will either be on them or the pistol will not be in your line of sight, and you won't be able to see your sights even if you try. All right, so instead we simply tell you, trigger finger is off the trigger as a default. Okay, this is the default, but we tell you finger off the trigger until you've made a conscious decision to shoot and your weapon is aligned on target. Now it could be aligned on target if you're doing a close range, close quarters shooting position. It could be aligned on target if you're doing pistol ground fighting and you've managed to get the bad guy's back and you're punching that muzzle into his back and so on. You'll know that the pistol's aligned. So finger off the trigger until you made a conscious decision to shoot and the weapon is aligned on target. It's got nothing to do with the sights. Okay, now I'm going to do a separate video on trigger management and hammer management specific to the CZ series as well as the Glocks. All right, so we have treat all weapons as if they're loaded. Be careful, in other words, be careful with your gun muzzle, and keep your finger off the trigger until you've made a conscious decision to shoot and your weapon is aligned on target. The last one that they talk about is they say be sure of your target and what's in front of it and what's beyond it. And the thinking is that if you don't have a perfectly clear line to the target and a perfect background, that you're not going to fire the shot. And again, that's nonsense in the real world. So what we'll tell you is, be aware of your target and what's around it, but don't let that negate your shot if that shot is required. And we will teach you methods to mitigate a poor background or mitigate things in front of your desired target. Okay, so those are the safety rules as we teach them at Suarez Tactics. They are more real world centric and less range centric, and that's what you'll hear when you come to class. Okay, if you have any questions, please post them below the video, and I hope to train with you soon. Okay, next chapter coming up soon.